Action News 5 at 3. I'm Joy Redmond, filling in on the anchor desk as Kim Clark helps tell the story of the devastating fire that took a historic part of downtown Memphis, Clayborn Temple. The building was much more than an old church. You cannot tell the story of civil rights movement in Memphis without Clayborn Temple. For more on the significance and tragic loss, we go live now to Kim Clark and Joyce Peterson. Kim, Joyce.
Hello, Joy. Yes, we are live out here. As you can see behind us, there are firefighters still putting water on some of the hot spots here at Clayborn Temple on Hernando Street, right behind, just south of FedEx Forum. It looks gutted from the inside.
Really something. When we pulled up a short time ago to get to the live location, when you see it in person, your heart just feels so heavy.
It does.
That's such history. This building built in 1891, dedicated in 1892, and then of course during the 60s, all that it meant to the civil rights movement, and then today what it means to the future of Memphis's civil rights movement. This is a gut punch today for so many in this community.
Definitely. The pastor of this church was actually the gentleman who put together the signs, printed them himself on his own printing press, "I am a man," for the strikers who would leave from this church to march from this church throughout the city as they were striking. And to see this church now, one of the, like we said, the focal point of the civil rights movement pretty much here in Memphis. It's just people, there are people out here standing around just
they set up their own tents,
yes,
just to
and
come
chairs
and watch.
just to see, just to sit and I guess soak in what is happening here today.
The fire, 1:30 this morning, knocked down in about an hour's time, but it gutted the sanctuary. The exterior walls still standing, but the interior completely gone. But like Nehemiah rising from the ashes, the owner of this church says they will rebuild. We're hearing from a lot of leaders, including from the National Civil Rights Museum, about this devastating fire. They say this historic church, a nerve center of the civil rights movement, was more than just bricks and stained glass. It was a beating heart for Memphis, a beating heart that chooses unity over division, progress over fear, community over chaos. The national civil rights leaders tell us we will go on. The destruction by fire of this sanctuary, just another somber chapter in a long story of devastated sacred spaces. But if history teaches us anything, it's this. Clayborn Temple will rise again because its foundation was never merely physical. It was and is spiritual. It was and is communal. And that foundation cannot be burned down.
We're also hearing from the son of Martin Luther King Jr., who of course came here to lead the striking workers and was essentially assassinated here at the Lorraine Motel all those years ago. He shared his feelings about the loss of such an iconic and historic building. Martin Luther King III posted on X saying, "The flames that consumed Clayborn Temple cannot erase its legacy as sacred ground. We honor its history, and we are committed to supporting efforts to rebuild this cornerstone of the civil rights movement." He added that he is deeply saddened by the temple's destruction. Well, Memphis history is embedded in the civil rights era. In addition to the National Civil Rights Museum, our community is home to a number of other civil rights museums.
And we were just talking about how fire also destroyed another one of those museums, the Slave Haven Underground Railroad Museum. Earlier today, the director of that center, she dealt with fire more than a year ago, still rebuilding. She shared her thoughts with us today about the destruction here at Clayborn Temple.
My connection to Clayborn Temple began very early in the church itself. I'm a member of the AME church, and I just remember coming to this church many, many times during my early years. And then, of course, with the civil rights movement started in the 1960s, and of course, all of the memories of the sanitation strike. But this is a part of our history. Clayborn Temple is a key part of what Memphis is known for, the civil rights movement. And I own a tour company, and this is a major part of our tours, in telling people who come here to Memphis about the history of the civil rights movement. This is our first stop. My office has been next door to Clayborn Temple for over 35 years. So it is a neighbor. It is a building that I see absolutely every day when I come to work. is where we start all of our tours from, so that people will know about the history of the Civil Rights Movement here in Memphis, the sanitation strike, of Dr. King's role. So this is what it means so much to Memphis to have this structure here, to have as a cornerstone of our history. And so it must be revived because it is a part of who we are.
Now, when it comes to the cause of this fire, moments before we came on air, we saw ATF agents out here looking at the scene. But let's send things over to our Griffin DeMarais with more on all of that. Griffin?
Hey guys, I'm on the other side of the temple, a little closer to the FedEx Forum, where you can really see this hole just right through the middle. And it's pretty hard to believe, but fire crews are still out here. And it's been almost 15 hours since this all started. And Kim, you said it earlier, that's because there are hot spots. Memphis Fire Chief Gina Sweat. So that's going to be going on throughout the afternoon and maybe into the evening. Now, this was a 2-alarm fire that broke out at around 1:30 this morning. And it took about an hour to get under control, but you could see in this videos how big those flames were, how dangerous this situation really was. Now, because of how strong those flames were, crews could not actually enter the building, meaning that the inside right now is a complete loss. Now, Chief Sweat has said, as far as an investigation, this is going to take some time, not only because of how big the fire was, but because this is just such a significant building, like you guys said. And they said they're going to make sure that no stone is left unturned. I'm going to have more throughout the show, so we're going to send it back over to you guys.
Action News 5's Griffin DeMarais reporting for us. Thank you, Griffin. I wanted to also mention we had another church fire last year, the tail end of last year, East Trigg Church, where Elvis sang when he was young.
Yes.
Vagrants, they believed, were the cause of that. We've heard rumblings that perhaps that could have been a cause here. Again, this sanctuary was under renovations, not open for business, but we're waiting to hear back truly what happened. But again, another church, and we're still waiting to find out how it burned down. Just
Definitely.
Heartbreaking.
It is. Well, we'll have more on this devastating fire throughout the evening on Action News 5. For now, Joy, back to you in the studio.